lot of that.
Yeah, I have the kids.
It doesn't matter. There's not a crime being committed. He doesn't suspect you of a crime and shit.
No. Like I said, we just ID people when we make contact.
You ask for ID. You request it. Yeah. And in this case, we understand why you're here. Well, no, in this case, we understand why you're here. That's why we're not like, you know. But yeah, crime's not committed. If you have autistic kids or been around them, you know how they are.
So I just want to make sure she's all right.
Yeah. When she throws a fit, as long until she gets melatonin or something. She has to calm down. Or music will do it.
Charlie 34, be clear for a Florida.
You're coming here for
544-83-7080.
Come here for that. Your Blackwater draw dig though is shut down now because of COVID, I guess. Listen, you don't have a background. I don't. I need to get away.
We were just required to. So.
I know, dude. New Mexico's still like that. Yeah. You know what's weird because that asset protection guy. So I went to the bathroom this morning and I walk inside and there's this packaging from, I guess somebody probably stole something or changed their clothes or something in the bathroom stall when I went. I brought it out and I gave it to. She's not going to fucking rock with you, Bob. Like, you can try though.
Yeah, well, I'll be honest with you. The loss prevention guys, they're pretty intense here.
It's pretty weird because so I'm a security guy and I work security since I was 16 years old. Everything from bars to festivals to asset protections for Birdines and Walmart, various things throughout the years. And I told him, I said, first off, you probably never busted a guy in tie-dye that was stealing. First off, maybe you have, but I've been doing this since I was 16. I'm 42, and I never busted a hippie for stealing. I busted for other things, not stealing. Yeah, go to the union truck. Well, then.
So they're.
But I brought it up to the customer service desk, and I was like, "Harry, this was in your bathroom. You probably should be aware of it." He follows me out, stops me, said, "Asset protection." I said, "Look, man, I turned in something in the customer service desk," and he's like, "Oh, I just want to get your story." I'm like, "My story is a concerned employee or a concerned shopper that turns things in," and so I figured that because I told him, I said, "You've never." So he's.
Do you have ideas?
I'm not going to ID for you. I'm not suspecting a crime, no. I'm not going to ID without suspicion of a crime. I don't do that.
It's not a crime, so we just have to ID people.
Unless it's a stop. No, it's registered to her. Okay. So yeah, you have no reason to ask me for ID. I understand the policy.
I do have a reason.
Not a legitimate reason.
Is to ID.
Can you call your supervisor? Because I'm not here to. Let me get my. I gotta get my phone because I need research to stop ID laws in New Mexico because I would never want to violate a law. Let me see here. New Mexico stop ID laws.
Is there a reason why?
Yeah, because I'm an activist, and I don't ID unless there's a suspicion of crime, which is what that's what the.
We're only required to ID people who make contact with.
No, you're required to ID people who are suspected of crime.
No.
Let me check.
Generally.
New Mexico stop ID. Hey, stop ID laws. I mean, if you do have like a law that says I have to, I actually would, you know. And it says concealing identity consists of concealing number true identity, constitutionality, concealing information, stop ID statutes.
Yes, the daughter is autistic and upset, so that's what they're going for.
Yeah.
So, and then, obviously, she's clear. I was just asking for his ID. Not wanting to give me his ID. So
no, I don't ID unless there's a suspicion of a crime. But you don't have to. You can request it unless there's a suspicion of crime. See, that's the thing is the ACLU. I'm a civilian contractor for ACLU, so I'm pretty familiar with every state. New Mexico, I did check 2 years ago. Unless they've had a new revision to their laws, is the stop ID in New Mexico requires the articulated suspicion of a crime. So if there was a crime being committed, sure, you'd need to know who you're talking about. But law enforcement are not detectives. They don't detect people.
Let's say I just saw you walking down the street and make contact with you.
That's a Terry stop.
No, it's just consensual contact.
Okay, consensual contact.
So if I say, "Sir, can I see your ID?"
Yeah, then you're moving into investigatory stop.
You know what? You can tell me go kick rocks. I don't have to.
Yeah, suspicion of a crime.
That's a consensual.
Yeah.
So now, when I'm dispatched to a call, because of a concerned citizen, then I'm required to ask for everyone.
So you see how that's on right now, right? I just want to make sure we're clear.
I have mine on.
So this actually goes straight onto the ACLU website. I'm a civilian contractor for the ACLU, and when I'm asking you questions, I expect to be forthright as a cop, right? What is the stop and ID law in the state of New Mexico?
So if I make
this is
consensual
clear.
contact, so when I make consensual contact
Yeah.
with you, if I have no,
I am looking at it right
I have
now.
no reason to make contact with you, and it's just consensual.
That's not how the law is written.
You don't have to provide me with any identification. But when I'm sent to a call and concerned citizen, like today when they heard someone's screaming,
Then you articulate your suspicion of a crime.
So when I make contact with the people involved,
Right.
especially I have to
Yeah,
ID
we call
everyone
this
to
field
make sure.
card. So a field card starts harassment. So I'm one of the founding members of Defund the Police.
Okay.
So I go to around the country, and we are very, very big on municipalities. See, we can't know all the laws in every city we go through.
Okay.
As a citizen of the United States of America, I do know my constitutional rights because that's important. I do know state laws where I reside because that's who I've signed a contract to for my jurisdiction. As I'm driving and traveling, ingressing and egressing different states and localities, various municipalities can file for any government they want. But they file with a state. So they can have enhanced laws to protect the safety and security of their citizens. They have to be narrowly tailored laws, and they have to be approved by the city council. When I ask you what your stop and ID law is, that's done through the state, not through a municipality. I do know the state of New Mexico's stop and ID law, and what you're describing to me is what you would like to accomplish by filling out a field card and having all the different blanks filled out. These are the name of people who came in contact. I understand and appreciate that. But America's gotten to the point now that we do not trust municipality police. We trust elected sheriffs and their deputies. That's what the Constitution, that's Section 5, Article 5, Section 1, gives the power of law enforcement to the sheriff who's elected. And if he were to be corrupt, I could then run against him. And so when it comes to municipalities, that's not how it works. In the city council, there's 9 members or 12 that are elected, and then they hire a chief. The chief then hires people. We don't have a grievance procedure that allows democracy in police situations. So as I'm moving forward in my life, I'm a very, very well-known person to defund the police. You could definitely see all about me on the internet. But in order to be part of that organization, that project that we're doing, we have to then adhere to our principles. And my principle is that I respect law. Law and order that is written by people who are legislators. Because the executive branch, which you're part of, is not the same as the legislative branch. And you wouldn't be trained the same either. And when you go in to become a cop, you're not automatically a detective. You're trained to what laws exist. And a lot of times you still get a few cops looking up because they don't really know them. But you're not trained on how to detect, to start processing people. If a law is not broken, there's no reason to investigate a person. Because law enforcement begins with a violation of a law. When cops go around asking people for their names, it makes them feel uneasy. So if your job is to make the citizens feel uneasy without any warrant or any articulable suspicion, that is a problem in society. We are correcting that problem. The reason you have a body cam is because we started the Operation DOD 1033. So we did that too.
My supervisor come here for you?
And I see a corporal right there. No, you're a
MPO.
watch command. Field training officer, FTO.
I'm also that too, but I'm an MPO.
What does that mean? Master police officer. So kind of like you've got their extra training, right? So I'm sure this guy's familiar with what I'm saying because I'm not speaking anything that's like everybody knows this.
So I'm just saying, like, if you feel like
No, I feel like
I'm in the wrong, then I'll get my supervisor.
Well, no, you're not. You can request anything you want. I can request your name and badge number, but I don't have a legal. You don't have a legal obligation or a lawful.
I'm just telling you from our policy.
A policy is not a law.
I'm telling you from my training experience. When people are not cooperative and concealing ID, there's no just general reason.
You're not allowed to suspect things like that.
I'm just saying,
you're not allowed to do that.
When I go to a call that I'm sent to,
yeah,
my job is to identify
a crime being committed first.
No, my job is to identify the people.
The crime being committed first.
To see if there's a crime.
Well, since you're trained improperly, I do want to speak to your supervisor because that's not how training is done. I literally train police officers in my job. I speak with their sergeants and their staff sergeants, watch commanders, and we work with them. Yes.
No problem.
There was no reason for you. There's no reason for you to require ID.
I'll get my supervisor you can talk to since he's probably more knowledgeable than I am.
Sure.
That's why he's my supervisor.
Oh, absolutely, totally. So far, I'm reading nothing new in your stop and ID laws. The demand for ID. It says 4 states have a demand for ID law. New Mexico has something like that. Let me see here. Because again, I don't violate laws. There are like Texas. Texas can require certain things. Like we were in Carson City, Nevada one time, and they require your name, date of birth, and address, which is different because most people don't require address. But in the state of New Mexico, reasonable indicate that the person has committed or is committing or about to commit a crime. That's what you need. Okay. Articulable suspicion, which is what is basis in like most states, almost all states. And I'm pretty sure, maybe I should just call my lawyer and have him on the phone. Michelle, Give me your card and you call the lawyer I have on my phone. That way I'm not misquoting myself.
No problem.
I would never want to violate any laws. I'm getting something to drink, by the way. I don't have anything to drink. Call your lawyer. Call your lawyer.
Where are you guys heading?
We move around in the mine. We go through mines and stuff like that. We came from the Tucson and General Mineral Show. See, at this point in time, you're supposed to say, this job here is done. We just came, we saw there was a autistic daughter, there's no abuse. Or you refer to CPS if you want to.
Obviously, like, your wife was very cooperative.
Mm-hmm.
You know, made everything was good.
Yeah, she's not an activist.
Okay. So
She's
I'm just saying,
passive.
If
I had complied with a violation of my rights, is that what you're saying? Yeah, sure.
ID'd yourself.
That's a violation. It's a violation of my rights. I have a Fifth Amendment right? So even if I was wanted, if I were, which I'm not.
This isn't a consensual stop, though, sir.
It's not a stop. There's no crime being committed. You're using consensual stop as if that's the only thing. There's also Terry versus Ohio, which is stop and pat, stop and frisk, and there's also investigatory stop. Are you telling me this is an investigatory stop?
I'm here on a call, sir, and I'm here to identify.
Well, a call is a call for service. Yes. People call 911, they don't call the cops. They call a dispatch center. Okay. Are you here on a consensual stop, an investigatory stop, or because one of the two has to occur?
I did.
You were trained, Bob.
I am doing an investigation.
Have you completed your investigation?
Not yet.
So your investigation is about what?
First, to see what was going on.
That's the only investigation.
No, and then IDing the people involved.
See, I wonder who trained you that way, because that's the problem. It's usually people trained from very high up. Here's your law, state statute 3022-3. Pull that up and see exactly what it says. Interference with law enforcement. Concealing identity. Concealing one's true name or identity, or disguising oneself with the intent to obstruct the due execution of a law, which means that somebody committed a crime. Or the intent to intimidate, hinder, or interrupt a public officer. I'm not trying to hinder or intimidate you. You don't have a lawful duty to get my name. Whoever commits concealing identity is guilty of petty misdemeanor. So you have to have a lawful duty. Now, if your supervisor says on my recording that you have a lawful duty, I'm going to comply because it's supervisor. Because then I'm going to file a 1983. So that's how we have to do it. We can't argue with cops because they're trained. I mean, you're trained by somebody. I don't know who it was. We're not privy to your training. We don't know what it is. It's unfortunate, right? That the public doesn't know how the public officers are trained. That's weird and unfortunate. But we don't.
But it's public information.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
Your training is not public information. I've been doing this for 17 years. So I don't know how long you've been doing it, but I've been a civilian operator or a civilian contractor for the LCCLU for 17 years. So I can tell you right now, there is no police officer training that is privy to the public. I wish it were. That makes a lot easier our jobs. We have to FOIA request how many people you guys harass. We have to do that. We have to FOIA request to get it, which is not really public. That's semi-public, right? But yeah, I'm going to step out here and smoke a cigarette. But I'm going to stay on my personal property. Yeah, and you're on private property here. So you as a public law enforcement, it's called private property with public access. So your duties do exist. You should definitely check on girls who are crying. You know what I mean? Like, for sure. I respect you for being here. Don't get me wrong. You had a call. I think your job is done now, and I think it's going to take a long time to teach cops that when the job is done. Yeah, the job is completed when you realize it's not a crime being committed, not when you've identified everybody and applied for warrant checks. That's not when it's been completed. That is not part of your job. But it's this footage right here that educates America. That's the important part, because we don't have to educate the cops as much as America. If America knows their rights real well, then we don't have to educate police officers, because they're being trained by the same people we don't know. Fortunately, sometimes I can speak to, you know what? It's Saturday. I can't call your mayor right now. City Hall open today? Yeah, it's closed today. Send a message to the mayor. your name, please? You got him? Oh, I'm just county clerk. That's not what I'm looking for. Why do you have a county clerk at your city hall? That's weird. You have a county seat? Is this county seat? Yeah, that's weird that you have a county clerk at your city hall. What? Well, then call and fucking make a report.
Huh?
Call and make a report.
Right, it went straight to voicemail because it's Saturday.
It is Stansbury.
I know. I have a number.
You have the number? Did you leave a voicemail? What's the other guy's name? Stansbury and what? Parker.
Parker?
No, Parker Stansbury is our luffer.
No, he was talking about his supervisor.
Name's Parker as well. You're supposed to be calling that hotline. That's a 24-hour hotline. Oh, this thing's up. It's staying real. There you go. This thing saved me a bunch of times.
Same for us.
Yeah, we had to like literally, I don't know, we were in Florida, and one of the officers was probably not trained well. I don't know, he was a lieutenant, so I imagine he probably trained pretty well. And we call it systemic corruption. So when a lieutenant doesn't know the law real well and they violate rights in order to accomplish goals. So at this point in time, he saw we were filming him, and he seized the camera under evidence. So we had to have a lawyer go get the camera out of the evidence room, and then we got $50,000 settlement from that one. That was a pretty good one. $50,000 for that one. It's usually $20,000 to $50,000. Like in your case, you guys really haven't, because I think this is just more like training right now. Because you're saying that you don't know that what I'm saying is true, that you don't actually believe that to be the truth. And so I understand that when people don't know the truth, they have to be taught. But I thought for sure they would train you guys on stop ID laws. I mean, that's pretty important. They do train you on that, right? And you can't tell me which one is yours? You don't know the stop ID law? ID Mexico. Shall you call the ACLU of New Mexico? Give them my name, tell them I didn't call me. No, you call the ACLU of New Mexico. Stop and identify. Overview. Hey, it's Sarge. Hi, Sarge. You want to put a mask on for you? Okay. So we're just trying to establish, I'm looking at stop ID laws in New Mexico. I respect laws that are created no matter what, but we don't know every law, but I do know the ones in New Mexico. I'm an ACLU civilian contractor. We do auditing across the country. And this gentleman says that there's a policy, which doesn't equal law, that he requires an identification for everybody he comes in contact with. I understand that field card
When
things.
responding to a call.
No, I'm asserting that you have to suspect a crime, articulately suspect a crime being committed or is in process of commission of crime. That's what I read in your laws. So you're saying there's a policy, which obviously I have no control of policies in Clovis, but when I look at New Mexico laws, you have to be suspected of committing a crime or in the commission of crime. You're saying that that's not true, so that's why we called you Sergeant Parker, because according to the law, what I'm reading here in the ACLU, who I've been working for a long time, New Mexico. Let's see, here's New Mexico. Hold on, let me pull up New Mexico for you.
Explain to you the reason they came out there?
No, I just want to know if there's a law that requires stop ID without suspicion of crime, because I know why.
But I'm saying,
it was a call for service.
No, but
my daughter was crying. My daughter was crying.
Suspicion of a crime.
No, my daughter was crying.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I'm saying for the call initially is that all of a sudden they get a call.
But that's not a crime. A child crying is not a crime.
Well, we don't know that it's a crime.
Right, but as you can't suspect a crime.
Yes, we can.
Why would you suspect a crime when you have a crying child?
If the idea is of the statements that we were given was to let me go, all of a sudden we believe that someone's being held against their will, which is a crime.
Well, yeah. If that, why would you think that?
Well, when people don't say,
"Let me out," is what you're saying.
Okay, let me out. The same thing is we're being held against their will. As the investigation goes along, then we're able to determine that it wasn't a crime,
right?
And then that's how we go. But
agreed.
So under the pretense of what the call was, by all means, that we have the right to.
Until you establish there's no crime being committed. Right, there's no crime being committed. Mr. McCree, I really do appreciate your job, and I'm not ever trying to buck authority. But in America, we have to, if you don't assert your rights, they don't exist. The law comes after rights. There's rights written, they're inalienable. And then there's laws written to protect the citizens and safety in communities. And I respect all of that. But the law cannot conflict with the rights. And I'm asserting my right to remain anonymous unless you suspect me of a crime. If you do suspect me of a crime currently, you can articulate that crime that you suspect me of, and then I will relinquish my identity so you can check me for whatever you want to. If you want to go about business, ask people cordially for their name and information. You have more than a right to do that. I can do that to you or him. You can do that to me. We all have cordial conversations. You cannot demand ID unless you suspect someone of a crime. That's what I would like the sergeant to explain, because he doesn't seem to quite understand that.
Came up here and the first thing was like I told you.
Before he ever asked my ID, he established it was a crime. Before he ever asked for my ID, he established there's no crime being committed. The ID was a standard procedure.
I was multitasking.
No, I got a camera. He's already said there's no ID. My daughter came out and talked to him, and my daughter's autistic, so she already did all his investigation. There's no kidnapping. It's my daughter. She's autistic. She's crying.
Still, there's the same thing as played in that same incident, whether the time frame.
Parker, do you have a lieutenant here? Is there a lieutenant on duty? Are you a high?
Yes, sir.
I think that's fine.
At the time, the same thing is that he will be covered, and he's covered in the same thing at this whole event. He's still allowed to ID.
There is no stop and ID statute in New Mexico. No, there's not. I'm going to show you right now. There's no stop and ID statute in New Mexico.
I'm saying is that
I'm telling you, there's not.
I know, okay.
So he ID'd my wife, who's the guardian of my daughter. So we're done. You stay frosty, okay? Stay frosty. Get yourself on the cuff. Show your 10 when you can, and let the population, because ain't nobody coming against the bribery and the on the cuff stuff right now. Right now, we're asking y'all to be good cops, man. You see crimes, stop crimes, man. Like, we're being really good citizens. We're not protesting in the streets.
Stealing ID is a crime, sir.
Asking for ID is cordial. Demanding ID when there's no stop and ID law and you don't articulate yourself.
All
right, well, she's the guardian. You've done that.
You're also an adult in this vehicle
This is not a vehicle. Okay. Listen, Parker, if you're trying to get around what's considered, these are constitutional laws. Because you're going to run my name and I'm going to sue. I'm going to sue. You don't get QI. Because you don't get QI for this.
I'm saying, I don't care.
You don't get QI for this.
Okay. I'm saying is that all of a sudden our time needs to be doing elsewhere. By all means, you need to ID yourself. That all of a sudden, that is probably fine. That all of a sudden that we will be follow through. That if you wanted to arrest you for concealing ID because you want to believe that you can.
So you're threatening me to arrest me?
No, I'm not.
Okay. Oh, you're not arresting me.
I'm saying that by all means that Officer McCray has by all means.
Are you threatening me with arrest? Are you threatening me with arrest?
It's telling you what the law.
Are you advising me that
you could be arrested?
I can be arrested.
You could be arrested.
And you're advising me that you would arrest me, right?
Concealing ID.
For concealing ID. Am I concealing ID lawfully? Not just because the word conceal ID. The way that the elements are written. My name is Pastor Andrew Stevens. I'm with the Church of Common Good in the ACLU. My date of birth is 7/30/78. I hope you remember it. It's now on camera. I've given you my name and information. I did it against my will and in violation of my rights. I thank you. You have a good one. You have a good one. It's Church of Common Good, by the way. Common Good.
Common Good?
Yes, Church of Common Good.
Where you staying?
I have 3 churches. One in Florida, one in California, and one in Texas.
Florida, California, Texas?
Yes, sir. Have fun watching my YouTube videos. Pretty good ones. See, the thing is, officer, we respect law enforcement. We don't respect violation of rights.
So what happened inside?
I gave it to you on camera.
Alright, we gotta be able to listen.
So you're violating my rights over and over again now, and you're doing it on camera. Pastor Andrew Stevens Church Common Good. I'm done. But I'm done. We are having now an involuntary stop
Is that a PA?
on a Saturday, and you're violating my rights with your highest level.
Did we say that you were free to go, sir?
What? I'm not. Am I being detained?
Yes.
You never said I was being
I
detained.
didn't know how to spell your last name.
S-T-E-P-H-E-N-S. You never said I was being detained. You can't detain somebody on presumption. I am not presumed to be detained. 730-78. I'm not presumed to be detained.
737?
Yes, sir. 78. Not presumed to be detained. No one's presumed to be detained.
And you're out of Florida, sir, originally? If you had identification, where
Yes,
would you be at?
Florida.
Andrew Stevens, 730-78, out of Florida. Thank you, sir.
No. No. No.
Do you have anything else?
Have a good day. Stay frosty. Hey, wait on it.
Huh?
So wait on it, because I'm doing a FOIA request too. I'm going to get it.
You would what?
A FOIA request, the Freedom of Information Act, to find out how often do you do this. Because if you're doing it that many times, then it's a systemic issue. I see an upper level officer that's violating your rights, and in a state that you shouldn't be doing that. So yeah, we'll take a FOIA request on all the other rights that you might be violating, and then we'll file, because now we have Biden, we don't have Trump no more. We got Biden. The task force is back. The federal task force is back. We're checking corrupt cops, and we're defunding police officers who don't act within our rights. Matter of fact, we just defunded three departments. Yeah. Yeah, let me see that. Yeah, if you.
It's something for our internal.
Oh, gotcha. No, I have no warrants. I'm a pastor at a church. I'm an activist. I work really hard to preserve the rights of American citizens. That's what I do. In order to have this job, we must be completely clean. We can't commit crimes because this. You see how aggressive you were? If I was a criminal, I would never be able to stay on the streets and also be an activist. I think you violated my rights. And I think that my lawyer is going to find out whether you did or not. So your training will become called into question, and depositions will be made. And as long as you're following your policy, then we won't be. I'm not attacking you. You're following policy. Your supervisor agreed to the policy. He said that he would apply a law that's not lawful in this situation to accomplish a goal. I heard it all. Y'all stay frosty. Thank you. You'll get something on the cuff. I know you want something on the cuff, right? You want something on the cuff, don't you? You need something on the cuff from me? All right. As you know, I'm very, very well versed in this. I need more drink. Oh, is it?
Why did you like go for half an hour and talk to the cop?
Because he violated my rights. They do that a lot. Demanding ID when they don't have any lawful reason to ask for it. I know they say it's their job, but it's not they don't have a lawful reason to ask for it. They just demand it and then make threats of incarceration on a Saturday when you don't have any supervisors. That was the supervisor. He violated the rights as well. But there's no lieutenant and there's no captain, and the city hall is not open on a Saturday. That's why they're able to aggressively do that, and that's why I complied with them in order to get him to go away, because it didn't matter that I was right and he was wrong. He had the guns and cuffs. That's why we call them thugs with guns. Yeah. The thugs with guns are still here. So I'm not quite done. I don't want to show my ID. They cover their names up half the time. They'll put their hand over their badge because they don't want to show ID. Because I have a right to my privacy. I have a right to have privacy in my own home. That's my own home. I have a right to privacy in my own home. He had no search warrant. That's the Fourth Amendment. Fourth Amendment, the right to feel safe and secure and private in your own home. Yes. You might have to learn how to drive a stick, just get over here. So right away. That's a private lot right there. Just pull out here and pull right there in that private lot. Pull in a private lot right there. This is for sale right here. All of that. We're leaving. No need. Okay. Have a good day. Right. Oh, and you're welcome for doing your job this morning. Just so we're clear, you're welcome for doing your job for you this morning, sir. No problem. Yeah, we're leaving. You're welcome for doing your job for you. You have a good one. I hope somebody steals the shit from you. You drive safe too, Bob. Congratulations on making it so far in life. Michelle, you done it. No. Okay. So as you see now, when they were wrong completely, they then brokered a trespass from the Walmart. He went up and talked to the asset protection and brokered a trespass. What I mean by they're corrupt. Pull right in there. You can. That's what I mean by corruption.